Who, wishing to build a tower, does not first sit down to count the cost to see if he has the money to complete it? Luke 14:28. Begin with the end in mind. If you thought about what kind of legacy that you want to leave when you're no longer here, is it one of a person who managed their affairs well? Is it a person known for being generous? Is it a person who leaves an inheritance for their children? If so, let's find out how to do that. Hi, welcome back to the channel. In our previous videos, we talked about what it takes to achieve financial freedom, which is learning to live on less than you make. And then we talked through the 3 steps on start moving in that direction. And those 3 steps are know what you earn, know what you spend, and know what you owe. This video is going to go into a little bit about how to apply knowing what you earn, knowing what you spend, and knowing what you owe to start developing a plan to start getting out of debt and moving toward financial freedom. So I'm going to pull up on the computer real quick a budget book that I personally use to work through how to budget, and I'll be sharing that with you. This is very similar to the budget sheet that I use in Excel. I say similar because mine is a little more complex to this, and I'll slowly, over the next few videos, show you how to build this into a more complex spreadsheet that I actually use. You'll see here that the budget book or budget is set up so that this is the main budget here, and it's broken out to food, housing, utilities, transportation at the top. Those are called your 4 walls, or your primary areas of concern. You've got to be able to have money for that. If you don't have food, you'll die. If you don't have housing, you'll die. You got to have utilities. You got to have a way to get to work. And then underneath that, I break it down to giving, clothing, and so forth, and all the way down to charge card. We won't use charge card in this particular video, but I'll show you how to use that in future videos. Down here is your savings account. You have $100 in savings. And for this example, we're showing net income of $4,500. The housing account is broken down to sub-accounts. So housing is over here, and that amount equals this total amount down here. So you can break your housing down to have rent, mortgage, either homeowner's insurance or rental insurance, and then maintenance. And then transportation is also broken down to car payments, gas, insurance, car maintenance, and taxes and registration. You'll notice I have maintenance in a lot of these sub-accounts, and that's because many times I've met with people and they say, I just had an emergency. And I go, what's the emergency? And they said, I had to replace the tires on my car. And I would say to them, you're surprised that the tires on your car were out? It's not an emergency. It was a simple lack of planning and forethought and looking ahead that resulted in the issue that they ran into. So I always have a maintenance account set up there. Utilities is broken down: electric, gas, cell phone, and so forth. And then loans, I've added some names: Chase, City, Discover. And then that's the amount of your payments are listed down through here. So that'll be your payment amounts. And then your minimum payment and balances will be shown over here, and we'll populate that in the next section here. So this is just introduction of the basic budget and how it's set up. Now let's start looking at some actual numbers. We're now going to look at the budget sheet with some example numbers added in, just to give you an idea how you can start to use this sheet to build out a budget. This is the budget sheet with example data loaded into it. As you can see, they are currently making $4,500 a month. They're spending $46.95 a month, which means that they are exceeding their income by $195 by spending. That is, they're spending $195 more a month than what they're making. This kind of spending would probably explain why they are sitting with $68,700 in debt. If someone like this were to come in to see me and want to know some recommendations on budgeting, the one thing that I would point out to them is that their savings, currently they only have $100 in savings. The current recommendations is that you have an emergency fund of $1,000. So the first thing we need to do is start building them an emergency fund of $1,000. If you're spending $200 a month more than you're making, and you need to save money, you have to reduce your expenses. So in the example here, my first recommendation would be to come over and look at their debt repayment. They're paying more back than to take care of their debt than is required above minimum. So they're paying more out than the minimum repayments would be required. So my recommendation would be that they take their debt repayment down to the minimum payment. So I would take each one of these down to the minimum payment as shown, and then that would give them $105 a month surplus. So they're now spending $105 a month less than their make. That would allow their savings to build up. $105 is still going to take quite a long time for them to get up to $1,000. So I would also recommend come over into their main budget sheet and look for additional savings. You can see that they are spending $100 a month on weekend, which is any weekend activity such as eating out, seeing a movie kind of thing. They also have an allowance of $40 for just personal expenses. They have vacation of $100, and they have a gift account of $50. My recommendation to them then would be that they not be eating out, but they should not see inside of a restaurant until they have an emergency fund. They should not worry about vacation until they have an emergency fund. They should not be giving gifts until they have an emergency fund. And in the same with allowance, they should not be getting lattes in the morning until their emergency fund is built up. By making these changes now, they have a surplus of $295. $295 surplus would allow them to fairly quickly get up to their $1,000 emergency fund. So this is an example of how to use the budget sheet and work through redoing your budget in order to identify means to achieve your financial freedom and start building up an emergency fund and getting out of debt. That was an example of a budget sheet and how to populate it in order to start building a plan to get out of debt. You could take this budget sheet, which is available in a link in the video description. It'll take you out to where I got the budget sheet stored, and you can download it and actually load your own information in there. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to me in the comments. As always, please like, share, and comment below. Thank you for watching.